a trend.
Yeah.
We're forever a part of the culture. HBCU Pulse always has you on lock. From the shade room to your favorite news feed, and now on your TV and radio. We are the #1 outlet for HBCU culture. Follow HBCU Pulse on social media and visit hbcupulse.com to stay up to date on what's going on in the HBCU community.
My microphone was muted. What's going on, everybody? This is Randall Barnes, the founder of HBCU Pulse and host of HBCU Pulse Radio, in the building for another special edition of the show on today, where we are unmuting our microphones and doing the HBCU Experience, the Southern University System 3rd edition interviews. Listen, there's so much going on right now, indictments and all this different stuff, getting off work. So there's a lot going on right now. But listen, we have an amazing interview on tap. We've interviewed so many amazing Southern University alumni. But this interview right here, I think is really going to be dope. Award-winning journalist. She had a radio show on campus, student-led radio show at Max 94.1. And now she's in the PR industry. Man, listen, Kendall Bunch is in the building. She's doing a lot of amazing things. And me being a Mass Comm graduate of Fort Valley State University, I'm super excited to talk to her. So let's go on and bring her on. Kendall, how you doing today? I'm
doing great. Thank you for having me.
Listen, I was so excited to talk to you. I was talking without turning the microphone on. I was like, what I got going on? But how's everything going? How are you feeling?
Everything's going great. As you said, I'm now in the PR space. So I've had this new job for about 7 months now. I'm in Philadelphia. I love metropolitan cities. So life is great. I can really have no complaints.
I love it. I love it. So listen, like, you went to school at Southern University in Baton Rouge. That's the South. And now you're in Philadelphia. So what's the difference? Is it different up there? Is the movement different?
You know what? I feel like the movement is different. I'm originally from New Jersey and I grew up in Florida. So I've lived in the North and the South. There's definitely a difference. And especially in Louisiana, Louisiana is a culture within itself. So, I mean, down south, is definitely a special place in my heart. Even though I do like the North, down south definitely has a special place in my heart. I mean, Southern University is one of a kind.
Listen, and you went to a one-of-a-kind university. And I got to ask you, like, what made you choose Southern University as your HBCU?
I chose Southern because I played tennis growing up. And I was at a tennis tournament one day, and I had no idea about Southern. And at this tennis tournament, a former tennis player, men's tennis player from Southern, saw me playing, was like, oh my gosh, you would be great for Southern's tennis team. And I was like, Southern, where is that? And he was like, Louisiana. I'm like, Louisiana. But, you know, I went on a visit to Southern, and I fell in love right then and there. My teammates, they brought me around campus. They brought me to a probate. You know, my tennis team was already on a SWAC winning streak. We had won 3 championships in a row prior to me getting there. And then, so, you know, next fall, I packed my bags and I was at Southern at SB Toddy Hall.
I love it. I love it. So you got to tell me, tennis. So how did you get into tennis? Because when I read your bio, I thought that was very unique. And although basketball is my favorite sport, and I'm starting to love football because I sort of have to, but I love me some tennis, especially when Serena and Venus used to play and Coco Gauff didn't make it happen. So what made you get into tennis in general?
It was definitely Venus and Serena. My sister also plays. And when we were younger, we were playing basketball, tennis, and dance. We were dancing as well. And my mom, I don't know, she had the TV on one time. She was like, these are my favorite players. So Serena and Venus. So we started picking up tennis. And then one time my parents sat us down, like, which sport do you want to get serious with? And my sister and I chose tennis. So we moved from New Jersey down to Florida to pursue tennis. We were homeschooled for the first couple of years. We took it very seriously. I wanted to use it to get a full ride to school, which I did at Southern. And then my sister also got a full ride at Drexel University in Philadelphia. And yeah, she actually went on a pro tour for a little bit too. So
Hey, y'all making it happen. Like y'all Venus Arena, y'all making it happen. Yeah, you got this.
We wish, but it's hard to compare us to Venus Arena. They're
It,
the goats.
it's not that hard. Y'all had a plan. Like, listen, you played tennis, you got the scholarship. Then you said she did a pro tour. Sounds like Venus Arena to me. But anyway, so let's talk about your freshman year. So, what was your freshman year experience like?
So my freshman year was everything I wanted it to be. I'm a social person as well, and as an academic person, and an athletic person. So I want to make sure I made it happen in the classroom, on a tennis court, and in my social life. And I feel like I did that. I was able to be a part of a lot of things that Southern had going on campus. I kept my grades up. I graduated high school with a 4.0, so I didn't want to like drop the ball game. When I got to college, so I was able to keep that up, and then I also won my first SWAC championship my freshman year. Continued to win 2 more after that, so I had 3 SWAC championships. But freshman year was everything. I mean, Southern University, like I said, is one of a kind, and you really don't get bored there. So it was great.
So, what is it like being a championship tennis player? Because we've seen a glimpse in media of like what it means to be a championship football player or championship basketball player, and we've seen that at Southern University. But what is it like to be a championship tennis player, especially when you're at a program that's as dominant in the SWAC as Southern, especially in your time?
It brought a sense of pride to me because although a lot of people did not know about our tennis team, like we were winning and everything, but I don't know, something with Black people in tennis don't click sometimes. So we would still go around campus and someone would say, "Oh, we have a tennis team." Like, yeah, we do. But it was very much a sense of pride to be able to come back to my school with that championship and just have Southern University's name on that trophy. Our student athletes, the other student athletes, we're all supportive of each other. We're all a big family. We go through the same thing with going to class and going to practice right away. And then sometimes not going to class because we have a tournament or something. So, just having that big family of athletes at Southern really felt like a home, really felt like family, and really, gave me a sense of pride to be able to bring that back to Southern and make my school proud.
Well, it's something about HBCU students in sports sometimes where I've heard this before. Like we really get into the culture and not really the sport itself. Because I went to every tennis game that I could. Because sometimes the tennis games they be at very odd hours. They'll be like a Tuesday at 12 p.m. and it's like I'm hungry. I gotta go to the calf. But it's like I would double back. And I'm like, it's still going on. When I leave the calf, I'm gonna go watch, and then I go sit out there and watch. It would be hot, but I'll be out there and watch, see me a good game. So it's real weird. But see, the thing about it is that you got to let them know that, listen, y'all might not know we have a tennis team, but you're paying for it. So thank you. You gotta let them know. I mean, like you gotta let them know that. Anyway, because like they talking about like I know we had a tennis team. Well, you're paying for it. Thank you so much. Have a nice day. Right. But let's talk about your sophomore year. So you winning championships, making it happen in tennis. You're keeping your grades up. So what was your sophomore year like?
Sophomore year, I think sophomore year is when I started really trying to be a part of organizations and really get involved with campus, started my internships. So sophomore year is when I really started preparing, I guess, for the next step, which was graduating. And then I also changed majors. So that's when I started my communications major because I was a fashion merchandise major when I first started school. And I was like, I like to dress, but I was like, I don't want to be a part of the business side of things. So I was trying to figure out what a career was like for me that would make me happy, that fits who I am. And so one time during the summer after my freshman year, I was watching the Tennis Channel and I seen a Black woman on there. I don't remember who it was, but she was reporting on the Tennis Channel. And I was like, I could do that. Like, I like talking to people. It seems like no day would be the same. I want to try that. So the next semester, I went in and changed my major to mass comm. I started my internship with the media relations department. I did PR because I thought I was basically playing it safe when I first started in PR. Um, but my actual goal was journalism. So I pursued PR, had a couple internships in radio, and then I had a couple PR internships. And then I pursued PR a little bit after graduating. I'm skipping ahead a little bit, but then went back into journalism, and now I'm back into PR. But, sophomore year is when I started realizing like what I wanted to do. So
I love it. So listen, I'm looking at your bio, and then when I saw this, because I learned I was interviewing you about a week or so ago. So when I get the people I'm going to interview, I look at their bio just first and foremost, right? Just to get myself ready. Okay, this is what's coming up. So I looked and I saw you had a student-led radio show. And I went crazy because I was student media on my campus. And as you can tell, I love me some radio. So
Right.
You got to tell me about your student-led radio show. Like, how'd you start it? Like, how was it? Like, what'd you do? What'd you talk about on your radio show?
Yeah, so the student organization was called Radio on the Bluff, I think. And, we had a few hosts there. I think I was the main person who really kept up the show. I think at least for like a semester or two. I had a co-host, which was a friend of mine. And we kind of did like a relationship show. Also, like I had guests, like I had one girl who's a student at Southern who was also a contestant on American Idol. So I was trying to get, kind of like celebrity guests on there. So I would just learn about different students' lives and what they were pursuing, and then had a little like relationship talk too with my co-host. And yeah, I just like talking to people, getting to know their story, and hence becoming a journalist.
It ties in, like the radio side of things ties in, because the big thing about it is conversation. And one thing that I see just within your journey and just skipping ahead and seeing you started Kenny Live and you interviewing people out there making it happen. Karen Civil, Jackie Long from ATL Esquire, you out there making it happen. If I saw your YouTube channel and like when I was watching ATL, I would have been like, that's Esquire. So listen, you out there making it happen, leading the conversation. So, we're talking about sophomore year. So junior, you said in your sophomore year that you started to focus on your career. You switched majors. So in junior year, what was that junior year like for you as you're almost at graduation?
Yeah, so junior year was a lot of the same as sophomore year, just getting, more experience. Sophomore year is when I started, junior year is when I started interning at Max 94.1. I was also part of the Go team at Southern, which was the team that was in charge of getting like the promotions and the halftime games and stuff for our basketball team. So I was doing kind of like the radio. I was still bouncing between, I guess throughout college, I was bouncing between radio and PR kind of the whole time, which is good and which paid off. This is, I guess, part of the reason why I wanted to do this book, because there are things that I did while I was at Southern that paid off to where I am today. And getting that experience literally led me to like my job today. So junior year, was a lot of sophomore year, just getting those reps in and getting my experience, getting myself out there as much as possible.
It sounds like you were popping on campus to me. You had the radio show, you have with the basketball games. Like, how did it feel on campus? Because we know you're a championship tennis player, okay? So, but like you, radio show, basketball, all these different things. What was it like for you on campus? Like, where'd you find the time for yourself to sleep, to study? How'd you find the time? Like, what was it like for you on campus at that point?
I don't know how I found the time, but even today, I run myself crazy. I like to keep a busy schedule, but one thing I'm going to do is find time for myself and find time to have fun. So that never lacked at all. I had like my teammates, I think we were all alike and we all had similar interests. We all were social. And so like we would sometimes, have some kickbacks or sometimes go to other kickbacks for like other sporting teams or, go to Pretty Wednesday. Pretty Wednesday was a form of self-care. I feel like we always had fun in the yard. Going to different stuff like homecoming, whatever I could do. Sometimes, it was crazy. It was really a balance because we would be at a party Friday night and have practice Saturday morning. So we had to balance. We had to do what we could do. But, I made sure I made my experience everything I wanted it to be. So
you're better than me. I would have got kicked off the tennis team. You're better than me if that was me. And I didn't go to parties when I was in school. But like, listen, you better than me. If that was me, I would have been asleep. They'd be like, where's Randall at? So listen, you're better than me. That's why you're successful, because I couldn't have done it. So senior year. So senior year is graduation time. You're starting to get in that swing of things and get ready for life. So what was senior year like for you?
Actually, senior year was different than I expected it to be because I ended up tearing my Achilles my senior year at the start of my season. So, for one, I think senior year is when I started like getting away from campus a little bit. I wasn't on the yard as much as I was in the past. And then on top of that, like once I tore my Achilles and I was out for the season, I was chilling. And just getting ready to figure out like what I was going to do after I graduated. And I had decided to move like the day after graduation. I moved up to New Jersey so that I can try and pursue my career in PR for a little bit. But yeah, senior year was pretty chill, I want to say. I couldn't do much. So
you tore your Achilles. How'd that happen? How'd you tore your Achilles? How'd that happen?
we had a crazy day at practice that day, and after practice um, we had to do some workouts. And I don't know if you know what spiders are, but if you think of how a tennis court is constructed, we have the tee in the middle of the tennis court. So you kind of like start at the tee, side shuffle to the doubles line, side shuffle back, run to the net, back pedal back, run to the net, back pedal back. So I was running to the net and back pedaling back. And when I went to go step forward to the next one, it popped. And
I can see it. I can see it in my mind.
It. That was I was done right then and there, which is like what just happened. I couldn't believe it. I had never gotten an injury in my life before, and that happened my senior year. I'm just like, is my season over? Like, what's gonna happen? It was over after that. So
it's so crazy because, like, as you're describing it, like I can see it in my mind because as a sports fan, we're almost like doctors to a certain point, and it makes me go back to what happened to Kevin Durant in the 2019 NBA Finals when he went up for the jump shot, then he went down. You see the replay, you can see his Achilles pop. So mentally, how was that? Because you said you were like, oh my gosh, is my season over? But you were a senior, you were getting ready to graduate. So like mentally, like how did you deal with that?
So I was sad. I was trying to actually see if I could get another year off of my injury. If you injure yourself at a certain time, as an athlete, they'll give you your year back. But they said it was too late for me. So I was like, okay. But then in my mind, I already said to myself, I didn't want to go pro with tennis. So I was like, okay, Kendall, if this happened, that means it's your timing and that means it's time to move on. And so I was like, great, not great, but now I know that it's time to focus on my career. Now I know it's time to really actually figure out like what you want to do and go all in. Because with me, my parents had sacrificed a lot for my sister and I to play tennis. And moved down to Florida. They sold their house. They, left their jobs to start all over basically for us. And so I already told myself that if I don't, go all the way with tennis, then whatever I do, I want to put my all into it. So that was kind of like my green light to be like, okay, Kendall, now it's time to move into the next chapter of your life. So.
Wow. It seemed like that moment really, made you focus your priorities on what was next. And I think that that's the powerful aspect of it. You're a life coach. You definitely understand this, is that like when you have a setback, you got to focus on the comeback. So I think that that's powerful. And just looking at what life after college was like, you got educated, you made things happen in that front. You went on to be an award-winning journalist before you hopped into PR. And you cut out for a second, but you're back now. But you became an award-winning journalist before you hopped into PR. So talk to us about your time after Southern.
Yeah, so as I said, when I first graduated, I pursued PR for about 6 months and I wasn't really getting a job. But then I was like to myself, well, Kendall, you really got into communications because you want to be in front of the camera. So that's when I decided I got a mentor, and then I created Kenny Live, which is where I did some of the interviews with some celebrities. And that was just a good experience for myself. And then I went to New York Film Academy so I can get that educational aspect behind me. And then I was a part of organizations. There's an organization called National Association of Black Journalists, and they have conferences every year. And so I had went to a conference, and I had put a reel together for some of the work I did with Kenny Live, and they did not take me seriously at all. So I was like, wow, like what can I do now? Because I was very determined to get into this field. So I was like, what do I have to do to get where I want to be? And I decided to go back to school and get my master's in journalism. So I went to Temple University here in Philadelphia. And along the way, I also met another mentor of mine who was very high up at a news station here in Philadelphia. And he was also an HBCU grad. And he had saw my track record, and he was like, what have you been doing? I didn't have any TV experience. I only had the radio and PR. So he was like, what have you been doing this whole time? And he really like ripped me apart. I was ready to like cry after I was done talking to him. But he was like, but you know what? Because you went to HBCU, I'm gonna help you. And he did. And till this day, I can call him up and get whatever advice I need. And it really paid off for me to go to grad school, because from there is where I got my TV job as a news anchor and news reporter in Michigan. And I did that for a couple of years, and it was good, but I realized it wasn't my passion after pursuing it all that time. But I think that's an important lesson in it, because a lot of people think because you start something, you have to keep going with it, even though you're not really in it. But it's always great to pivot if you feel like things aren't going the way that you want it to. So that's what I did. And I got back into PR, and now I love it. Absolutely love it.
So PR. So, you were in media and now you're in PR, and I was looking through your page and I saw that, for your clients, you were getting like news hits, like you were getting them on the news and different things like that. So is it almost like an insider advantage? Like you have a former football player that was a coach, and now like they know the plays, they know the whole game, so was it like that? Is it like that for you as a PR person?
It is actually. You definitely, that experience helps a lot, because you know what journalists are looking for. You already have the mind of a journalist, so you know how to kind of craft those pitches, those pitch subject lines in the email and stuff, so that it screams out to a journalist like, oh, this is something I need to see. Let me see what they're talking about. It helps tremendously. So, even though I decided to get out of journalism, none of that work was in vain. It still helped me to where I am today. So I can't complain.
I bet you can't, because that's an advantage, because I think, when it comes to PR, like a lot of folks in PR, especially when they're starting, they don't know how to craft that pitch or how to really get the journalists to bite on, so the fact that you had that experience and then you flipped it in this way, I think that's dope. But I want to get to a deeper point before we talk about your chapter in the book. So one thing about, folks in this age range and in this generation is that there's a lot of changes that come in life, and oftentimes it's hard to make that leap. So for you, like you switched from a career you were great at, because you were an award-winning journalist, like you were making things happen, and then you decided, you know what, I'm going to pursue PR, and now you're doing really good at that. So like, how did you decide to make that leap, and was it uncomfortable for you? And how did you, if it was uncomfortable, how did you battle that uncomfortableness to make that leap into this field?
Yeah. So, I think that sometimes things come in your life and shakes things up, and it's kind of like you don't understand why it's happening, but you feel it pushing you in a different direction, and that's sort of what happened to me. So when I was out in Michigan, um, I had an incident that happened. Without going into too much detail, I had an incident that happened that kind of messed up my driving record. You have to be able to drive to your stories a lot. And so that messed up my driving record when it came to driving a story. So it was kind of like a hindrance with new jobs. And so I was still being recruited and stuff for like jobs to go into my next news station. But it was kind of hard. And with everything that I had lined up or that I had accomplished at my job, I had got promoted to like full time evening anchor, and like you said, I had won some awards and stuff. So I had done a lot within my 2 years, but it seemed like they were making things kind of hard because of that blemish on my driving record. And so I could have still went along with it. I could have still pursued it, but I felt like it was happening for a reason. I felt like, Kendall, maybe this is because there's something out there that you're not tapping into. And I don't know. I just always listen to God and listen to, like whatever the spirit's telling me. And it was just pulling me away from journalism. And in the midst of it, I was realizing that yes, it was so great that I was in this career, but do I actually love it? Am I completely passionate about it? And the answer was no. Some of the stories that I was talking about, I wasn't passionate about, and it was a very draining industry to be in as well. It's like a lot of work with little to no reward. So I feel like you need that passion if you want to be in that industry. So it was just kind of like that little like light switch that went off that was like, maybe there is something that's better for me out there to pursue. And so I listened to it, and not everybody was in agreement. Some people were like in my family, some people were like, yeah, go for it. And then there's some people was like, but you're already in it, like why leave it? But I just listen. I don't mind taking leaps. I don't mind betting on myself. So that's what I did, and I end up going after it. And um I don't regret my decision, not one bit.
I love it. I love it. So listen, you made that leap, you made that jump, and now you're doing so many amazing things. You graduated from Southern University and you're motivating people. And your stories in the HBCU experience, the Southern University System third edition. So with this transformative story that you had, I'm literally like in awe because I'm still on the Achilles part. Like that's crazy. So, like, bro, I'm still. We talked about 10 minutes ago. I'm still on that part. So, let's talk about your chapter in the book. So, what do you talk about in the book and in your chapter?
Yeah, so I talk about a lot of the things you guys just heard about me. So I started playing tennis, in New Jersey. I moved to Florida to pursue tennis, and then I ended up getting my full scholarship to Southern. I was being recruited by different schools, and I went on 2 visits, and I knew what I was looking for when I was going on these visits. I was looking for the social aspect, the academic aspect, and the athletic. And the visit on at the other school didn't give me two two out of those 3 things. I felt like the academics would have been good, but the social and the tennis wasn't meeting my expectations. And so when I went on a visit to Southern, like I said, like everything checked my boxes, and I was like super excited. I was sold right then and there. And of course, like it paid off because I ended up being a champion. I ended up having amazing teammates, meeting amazing people there. It led me to, like I said, where I am today with all the experience that I got. And I talked about, how building other relationships with other people from HBCUs, like that has happened along the way as well, has gotten me to where I am today. So, I mean, just the whole experience at Southern is just um, undescribable. Like it's phenomenal.
I love it. I love it. And listen, we cannot wait to read your chapter of the book, to hear the undescribable experience of all the things that you've gone through. And before we go, listen, you got to let people know, because you help other people promote themselves. So we need you to promote yourself and let us know where we can find you on social media, and also how we can support you.
Sure. So you can follow me on Instagram at _simply SIMPLY Kenny KENNI. I'm also starting I bartend as well. That's something as I was trying to get my career together, I would bartend that whole time throughout that journey. So for the past 6.5 years, I've been bartending, and so now I'm about to start a mobile bartending business called Concoctions, KEN. And then eventually I will be taking on clients of my own for PR. Right now I work for a federally designated nonprofit, which is very big here in Philadelphia. But eventually, yeah, I will be taking on my own clients. So I hope you guys can support me for those things.
And listen, like about a year, you're gonna be a millionaire. So we actually can support us at this point. Like mobile bartending, and then you about to have your own situation going on with PR. Like, can you support us? Like, you know what I'm saying? Buy about 10 books, when it come out on Thursday, man. Yes, but listen, Kendall, it was amazing speaking to you. Super excited to read your chapter in the book, The HBCU Experience, the Southern University System, 3rd edition, coming out on Thursday, 2 days from now. Make sure to go copy it. Listen, we're super excited. Kendall, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
No problem. All right, talk to you later.
All right, bye.
Listen, amazing interview, an amazing story. Listen, the HBCU Experience, the Southern University System, 3rd edition, coming out on Thursday, August the 3rd, 2023. Make sure to go get it on Amazon. About to play the trailer in a second. So many amazing folks that we talked to from Southern University. And if you have like high school students or even freshmen, because I saw, I'm on Instagram, I'm out the game. I'm still HBCU Pulse. I'm still in this thing, but I'm out the game as far as like orientation and all these different things. And I see the orientation is coming up like next week for a lot of these different schools. So if you have a rising freshman that's about to go to any HBCU, especially Southern, make sure to cop the book from them. Here's the trailer right here coming up. Thank you so much for tuning in. And as always, we'll see you on the other side.